Keeping up with the worker empire can be exhausting, and with having so many aspects to cover, the Material Workbench is just another part of the empire that, if utilized, can make millions over the course of a week. Welcome back to the channel all about life scaling. My name is Teddy, and today I'll be showing you how I turn all of my extra ore into passive income throughout the week. Whether you've been mining out in pilgrims or you just have a lot of workers mining for you as you play, get those Manos pickaxe ready and let's start smelting those ores to make the mineral crates in Black Desert online. Mining can accumulate a lot of minerals either when doing it manually or just having workers. Other than just selling the raw resources on the central market or using them to make tools, there's another way you can get a lot of money passively. That's right, the Mineral Workbench. These workshops alone are able to make hundreds of millions while you play, and when paired with the right workers and location can make 2 times the normal amount of silver. Of course, just using the workbench can be done at any time. It's time to start learning how to keep those workshops pumping out crates so you barely have to interact with it. And to best do this, having the workers mine certain nodes can speed this up and ensure no extra time is wasted. Really quick, before we start, comment down below if you have a couple workbenches or if you just chose to have one. I've been getting mine prepared for when the Land of the Morning Light is released so I can start heading out there and trading for the increased distance. While you're down there, be sure to leave a like if you're enjoying using your workers to make millions during the week. But now, let's head out to Kepler and start showing you how I have my mineral workshops and mineral nodes set up to start making millions on crates alone. Though the mineral workbenches can be kept solely by gathering the minerals needed manually, sending out workers to do this while you gather other materials can increase the longevity of those workbenches' work. As with the other workshop guides I've already uploaded, I won't be getting into the workers and which skills will speed them up. But jumping into the nodes, however, are the copper ore. Not every node is needed, with some just standing out for certain reasons. Choosing the Goblin Cave here in Balanos has both the copper ore needed and rough translucent crystals that can be used to turn into trade crates and for alchemy. This node will cost 2 contribution points to connect and 1 contribution point to invest. Another node to choose is the Caputia node here in Medea. This node has both powder flame and rough opal, which can be used to craft crates or can be used for other life skills. This node is a little out of the way when connected and will cost 1 contribution point for the node and 3 more invested. Not wasting more time on the copper ore, it's time to start choosing the iron nodes. For iron, any node will do, but for me, I chose the southern swamp node here in Glish. This node has rough mud crystals for more crates or alchemy if needed. This node will cost 1 contribution point to obtain and 1 contribution point to invest. If you need an iron node with Powder of Darkness, either choosing the Coastal Cave, Coastal Cliff, or the Northern Hideout Quarry will do. All these will cost 1 contribution point to obtain and another contribution point to invest. Next on the ore list is tin. There are 3 to choose from here, with all of them offering good bonuses for taking one or all of them. Choosing the Bear Riverhead node here in Caliphion has Powder of Earth and can be a little out of the way. This will cost 1 contribution point and 1 more to invest into the node. The Crudo Cave node here is the first choice when it comes to taking tin nodes. This supplies rough red crystals for more crates and alchemy. This node too will cost 1 contribution point and another contribution point to be invested in. The last tin node is the Rodham Outstation here, also in Caliphion. This has rough green crystals for crates and alchemy and will cost 1 contribution with another contribution point needing to be invested. As for the lead ore, I chose Glish Swamp node here for the added Powder of Time. This will cost 1 contribution point and another point to be invested. Moving on to the zinc ore, there are a couple nodes that can be chosen. My choice is the Omar Lava Cave here in Medea. This node is the same as the abandoned iron mine node, with giving the Powder of Time and platinum ore needed for those Jewerly Crates. Both nodes will cost 2 contribution points and 3 more to be invested in. The other choice here is Cult Canyon out in Dragon. It only provides a small amount of mithril that can be used for higher valued crates. This node is out of the way and will cost 1 contribution point to obtain and the sad cost of 5 contribution points to be invested in. Now for the nickel, there are 2 nodes that can be chosen which are still out of the way. Choosing Alone Valley 1 has nickel N with the added bonus of mithril, and Loon Valley 2 has Powder of Darkness. This node will cost 3 contribution points to obtain and will need 3 contribution points invested in for each. Keep in mind, other than manually gathering for mithril, these nodes are the only way for workers to mine them. Knock ore does have a couple options here. The first choice is going to be the Agam Rocky Mountain 1 here in Dragon. This is out of the way, but does provide rough lapis lazuli. This node will cost 1 contribution point with another 5 to be invested in. Another choice is Lake Flondor here just because of how close it is to Grana. This node has Powder of Earth if you need more, and will cost 3 contribution points and another 2 to be invested in. Almost to the end of the ore list is the vanadium nodes. There are a couple nodes that can be chosen, with one standing out, this being the Gavinia Volcano node here. This is a little out of the way, but will take care of all of the vanadium needed. This node will give rough opal and Powder of Darkness if you don't have an iron or copper node. This node will cost 3 contribution points and 2 more are needed to be invested in. The next ore on the list is the titanium. This can be obtained from the same node. Choosing Gavinia Volcano 1 will provide titanium, rough violet crystals, and powder of flame. This too will also cost another 2 points to be invested in. The last 2 ores are simple with being out in the Eternal Winter region. When it comes to jade, taking the Jade Starlight Forest node here is the only node that can be chosen. This will cost 3 contribution points and another 5 to be invested in. Moving on to the last and final ore is the obsidian ore. These can be mined from the Shuriken Iron Mine node here. For the node, it will cost 3 contribution points and finally 1 more to be invested in. Also, keep in mind this node is a little out of the way. With all of the nodes chosen and the ability to keep those workbenches going, now it's time to talk about making sure no time is wasted. When you get all the materials needed for the crates you wish to make, getting them made into crates has to be done with workers at a workbench. There are several locations that has workbenches, but not every location will be the best for the distant bonus when trading to either Valencia or Port Rat. When choosing to trade to Valencia, heading out to Comasilvia here in Grana has 1 workbench at Grana 15. This can be leveled up to tier 2, allowing 5 crates that can be made at a single time. This will cost 6 contribution points, and when using a worker with the ore packing skill can make 6 crates per cycle instead. If choosing to trade to Port Rat, Camp Alex here out in the Eternal Winter region has the furthest distance. Taking Camp Alex 2 here has another level 2 mineral workbench that can be rented. This workbench will need 5 contribution points total to connect to Elton and another 3 contribution points to rent. For this, you will need to have extra lodging, so keep that in mind. Moving up to Calpheon is Trent here. There is a workbench here that can be rented for 10 contribution points total, and for those who choose to rent this workshop, has a small bonus that can make this a tad bit better. There's a worker here named Bravant that can be hired using Amity. He is professional at the start and comes with the skill Repeat Ore Box, which gives +2 ore crates and can be stacked with the ore packing skill for a total of +3 crates per cycle. The next place to consider was my first choice. This is Glish out here in Serendia. Though only having just 1 workbench that can be rented, this is close to all the ore nodes, speeding up how quickly the ore can be processed down so you don't have to wait. This will cost 3 contribution points total. Now, it's time for the last spot that I personally have been enjoying and working on getting built up. Out here in Kelfion has a little forgotten gem Keplin. There are a couple reasons I chose this spot, which makes it perfect for any mineral workshop empire. Why is this better than using any of the capitals that have more than just 3 workbenches and the storage needed? To make this simple, because Keplin is its own town, I can store all the ore without taking up the storage space needed for those capitals, and there are 3 workbenches that can be rented, speeding up how quickly the crates can be made. With artisan workers properly skilled, Keplin can easily produce +6 crates per cycle. Getting Keplin set up can cost a lot of contribution points, with renting Keplin 1-2 floor 1 for 3 contribution points total. Keplin 1-4 floor 1 also has another bench that can be rented for a further 3 more contribution points. And moving up to the top ridge has the last workbench for another 3 contribution points total to rent all the nodes needed. Now, as for the honorable mentions, these have to be the capital cities. These all have plenty of storage and workbench options you can choose from. I personally don't choose the capital cities, I choose other locations for there's certain aspects that can't be found anywhere, and I'm sure when the Land of the Morning Light comes out this will all change, but now let's get into the workers and speeding up those workbenches. Like with any and all workshops that can be rented, these require workers, and although any worker can do, certain ones with certain skills can increase the amount of crates made, thus the amount of money that can be made in the long run. When choosing a worker, it's best to choose one based around your playstyle. For those who are active and content to their workers a lot like me, choosing goblins are the fastest choice here. Humans are the middle ground, and lastly the giants are the lowest but won't need as much maintenance. for me, I chose to have a mixture of humans and goblins. Now for the skills we're looking for, these are the ore packing skill for the +1 ore crate per cycle, and all the thrifty skills possible to ensure more materials back per crate, allowing more crates to be made. I won't really focus on the speed skills unless leveling up. Once they're max leveled artisans, I will replace the speed skills for more thrifty instead. This can be done by hitting the change skill option here once the worker has gained 50% experience and is completely random. As an added bonus for sticking around this long, for those who wish to further lessen how much you need to interact with those material workbench empires you've established, not needing to keep clicking or keeping an eye on your worker empire is ultimately the goal here, and there are 2 ways to help with this. Though this will take more contribution points and workers, it's rather easy and a quick thing to do. There is no avoiding having to manually heat the ore that has to be used by your workers, and can't be avoided much like feeding your workers, but setting up a refinery will keep the constant supply of black stone for those who need it, and for those who have those extra rough stones from being out in Pilgrim's Haven all day. At level 1, the refinery will use 2 rough stone for 1 black stone powder. Level 2 will take 10 rough stone for 5 black stone powders, and lastly, level 3 refineries will make 15 black stone powders for 30 rough stones. There are a couple skills to look out for when setting up your own refinery though. The general knowledge skill will decrease the time needed for the whole refinery. Having this on an artisan goblin can reduce the time to 5 minutes or less to complete 1 cycle. The next skill pertaining to the refinery, which will help speed up your worker, is the mass production skill. This skill speeds up using the level 2 and level 3 refineries with them needing mass production. This skill will not work for level 1 refineries or workbenches, only level 2 and above. Now with the refinery keeping those powders going, it's time to make sure all those ores can be heated without needing to touch them. Choosing a spot with either a level 2 workshop like Grana or just having Glyph for their convenience, we're able to use the material workbenches to melt all those ores down into ingots. Though slower than heating them yourself, having workers gather materials needed, process them down, and crate them up while only needing to feed the workers makes it almost completely self-sufficient. Having workers with a general knowledge skill and mass production knowledge will be the best choice here with speeding up how fast they can heat up the ore. And grabbing thrifty, like with all the other refinery workers, will give back more ore to smelt. If using an artisan goblin, stacking the thrifty skills will ensure you get a lot of materials back without having to sacrifice skills for the speed. When it comes to the worker empire, the material workbenches are a staple for anyone's empire. With the ability to make hundreds of millions a week without needing to do much, even without getting those workers properly skilled or leveled, can still make a fortune. Even though getting the material nodes of the worker empire can cost a lot of contribution for each node, renting workshops, and just the workers alone, once done, it pays for itself in the long run when trading those crates either in Port Rat or Valencia. I hope this helps you get those material workbench spitting out hundreds of crates and ingots, or just helps you decide where to get your ore crating operation started. I've been playing around with my worker empire and getting my material workbenches set up after moving my materials from Glitch. Using 3 workbenches has gotten me a lot of high valued crates ready to be traded in when I need them. For those who still have questions and just want to ask them, or just want to hang out with me, you can find me over on Twitch every week, Monday to Friday, playing Black Desert or any game that has gathering or crafting. But if you want to see another way to level up those life skills or just start making money in Black Desert online, click this video here, and I will see you guys in the next one.